A challenge begins? Amanda Hayes stared at the email on her phone for the third time that morning. Her coffee growing cold in the Seattle office overlooking Pike Place Market. Her father's message was clear and direct, just like everything Harold Hayes did. Secure the Montana property by month's end. Your brother closed the Portland deal yesterday. Show me why you deserve the CEO position. She felt her stomach twist into familiar knots. Ryan had beaten her again, her younger brother by just 18. Muntz had somehow managed to close another major acquisition while she'd been stuck in endless meetings about quarterly projections. The competition between them had started in childhood and had only intensified as they both climbed the corporate ladder at Hayes Development Corporation. Montana it is, Amanda muttered, booking a flight on her phone. She'd never been particularly fond of rural areas. Give her a bustling city, a rooftop bar, and high-speed internet any day. But this deal was too important to pass up. The land in question sat in a prime location near Glacier National Park, perfect for their planned eco-resort development. 3 days later, Amanda found herself driving a rental car down a dusty Montana road, her designer sunglasses doing little to block the intense sun. The GPS had stopped working 20 minutes ago, leaving her with handwritten directions from the gas station attendant who'd looked at her Manhattan outfit with barely concealed amusement. Turn left at the broken fence, she read aloud from the crumpled paper. Helpful, very helpful. An unexpected meeting the ranch appeared suddenly as she crested a hill. Sprawling pastures stretched in every direction, dotted with cattle that looked surprisingly content. A weathered wooden sign read, Bennett Organic Ranch, to 1978. The main house was a beautiful log structure that somehow managed to look both rustic and well-maintained. Amanda parked near the barn and stepped out, immediately regretting her choice of heels as they sank into the soft earth. She was attempting to extract her shoe when a deep voice startled her. Those shoes look expensive. Shame to ruin them in cow pasture. She looked up and felt her breath catch. The man standing 10 feet away was not what she'd expected. Broad-shouldered, he wore faded jeans and a flannel shirt with the sleeves rolled up, revealing tanned, muscular forearms. His dark hair was slightly too long, curling at his collar, and his eyes were a striking blue-gray that seemed to see right through her corporate armor. Cole Bennett, he said, not moving to help her. You must be the city developer my lawyer mentioned. Amanda finally freed her shoe and straightened her blazer. Amanda Hayes. Hayes Development Corporation. I'm here to discuss your property. Discuss. Cole's lips quirked in what might have been amusement. That's a polite way of saying you. Want to buy my family's ranch and turn it into a tourist trap? Eco-resort, Amanda corrected automatically. With sustainable practices and minimal environmental impact, right? Cole turned and started walking toward the barn. Come on then. If you want to talk about my land, you should probably see what you're actually trying to buy. Learning a different world, Amanda followed him, struggling to keep up in her heels. The barn was impressively large and impeccably clean. Horses nickered softly from their stalls, and the air smelled of hay and leather. This is Ranger Cole, said, stopping at a stall containing a magnificent chestnut stallion. 4th-generation Bennett horse? Its great-grandfather won 3 state championships. Amanda reached out tentatively to touch the horse's nose. Ranger snorted and pulled back. He can sense nervousness, Cole observed. Horses are honest like that. They don't pretend to be something they're not. The comment felt personal. Mr. Bennett, I understand you have an emotional attachment to this property, but I'm here to make you an offer that could change your life. The amount my company is prepared to pay would allow you to purchase an even larger ranch anywhere you choose. Cole's expression hardened. This isn't about money, Ms. Hayes. This land has been in my family for 3 generations. My grandfather broke his back clearing these fields. My father taught me to ride in that corral over there. My mother planted those apple trees you passed on the way in. I understand, but sometimes progress requires difficult decisions. Tourism in this area is growing. Your property sits on one of the most scenic locations in Montana. We could create something that brings jobs and revenue to the entire community. Or you could destroy the very thing that makes this place special. Cole's voice remained calm but firm. Turn working ranch land into parking lots and gift shops. Amanda felt her professional mask slipping. You make it sound like we're monsters. We're trying to build something sustainable, something that celebrates this region. It's an unexpected proposition, Cole. Studied her for a long moment. I'll tell you what, stay here for a week. Work on the ranch. Learn what it actually takes to maintain a place like this. If after 7 days you still think a resort is a better use of this land, I'll at least listen to your detailed proposal. Stay here? On the ranch? Scared of a little hard work? The challenge in his eyes was unmistakable. Amanda's competitive nature flared. She'd climbed the corporate ladder by never backing down from a challenge. Fine. 1 week. But you have to keep an open mind about my proposal. Deal. Cole extended his hand. When Amanda took it, she felt a jolt of electricity that had nothing to do with business. His hand was rough and warm, engulfing hers completely. A moment they stood there, hands clasped, eyes locked. Cole cleared his throat and released her hand. Bunkhouse is that building to the left. Nothing fancy, but it's clean. We start at sunrise. Sunrise, Amanda repeated weakly. In Seattle, sunrise was something that happened while she was having her first cup of coffee. As Cole walked away, Amanda pulled out her phone to call her assistant. No signal, of course not. She looked around. At the mountains, the endless sky, the peaceful cattle grazing in the distance. This was going to be the longest week of her life. What Amanda didn't know was that it would also be the most important week of her life. As the sun set over the Montana mountains, painting the sky in shades of orange and pink she'd never seen in the city, something stirred in her chest. Something that felt dangerously like excitement. Back in the main house, Cole watched from the window as Amanda struggled with her luggage across the yard. He'd meant to be cold and dismissive, to send her packing back to whatever city she'd crawled out of. But something about the determined set of her shoulders, the way she'd met his challenge without hesitation, intrigued him. This is going to be interesting, he muttered. Already questioning his decision to let her stay, neither of them could have predicted just how interesting it would become. Dawn of understanding, the rooster's crow pierced through Amanda's dreams at what her phone informed her was 4:30 in the morning. She groaned and pulled the thin pillow over her head, but it was useless. Through the bunkhouse window, she could see lights already on in the main barn. Stumbling out of bed, Amanda rummaged through her suitcase for something appropriate. She'd packed mostly business casual, not exactly ranch wear. The best she could manage was jeans she'd brought for the flight and a cotton sweater. Her sneakers would have to do. Cole was already in the barn when she arrived, efficiently moving between stalls with buckets of feed. He glanced up at her arrival. She could have sworn she saw approval flash across his face before his neutral expression returned. Morning. Grab those gloves and that pitchfork. Stalls need mucking out. Amanda stared at the pitchfork like it was a foreign object. You want me to clean horse stalls? That's what mucking out means, unless you'd prefer to help me castrate the young bulls later. Her eyes widened. Stalls are fine. The next 2 hours were the most physically demanding of Amanda's life. Her gym membership suddenly seemed laughably inadequate. By the time they finished, her back ached, her arms trembled, and she was fairly certain she smelled like the business end of a horse. Not bad for a city girl, Cole said, and this time his smile was genuine. Come on, breakfast. Finding common ground, the main house kitchen was surprisingly modern and spotlessly clean. Cole moved around it with easy confidence, cracking eggs and flipping bacon while Amanda collapsed into a chair at the wooden table. My mom loved to cook, Cole said, noticing her looking at the well-organized space. After she passed 5 years ago, I kept everything exactly how she liked it. It seems wrong to change it. Amanda heard the grief in his voice and felt her heart soften. I'm sorry, that must have been difficult. Cancer took her fast. Cole set a plate in front of her loaded with eggs, bacon, toast, and what looked like homemade jam. She would have liked you, actually. She always said the Hayes women had spine. Wait, you knew my mother? Amanda asked, surprised. Patricia Hayes. She came through here about 20 years ago. On some kind of college research project about sustainable farming. Stayed at our ranch for a week. My mom and her got along great. They kept in touch through letters for years. Amanda felt the world tilt slightly. Her mother had never mentioned Montana, never mentioned the Bennett Ranch. Why didn't she ever tell me? Cole shrugged. Maybe she knew you'd end up here eventually. Your mom was smart like that. The revelation changed something between them. As they ate, the conversation flowed more easily. Cole told stories about growing up on the ranch, about learning to ride before he could properly walk, about the time he'd tried to convince his parents to let him keep a baby coyote as a pet. Amanda found herself laughing, really laughing, in a way she hadn't in months. The corporate world didn't leave much room for genuine humor. The competition arrives 3 days into her stay. Amanda was beginning to understand the rhythm of ranch life. The early mornings no longer felt quite so brutal. Her muscles had stopped screaming in protest. She'd even successfully ridden one of the gentler horses around the property with Cole. As her guide, it was during one of these rides that they saw the black SUV pulling up to the ranch. "Expecting someone?" Amanda asked. Cole's jaw tightened. No. The woman who emerged from the vehicle was stunning in that calculated way that came from expensive salons and personal trainers. Her red power suit screamed corporate shark. Amanda recognized her immediately. "Diane Carter," she muttered. "Carter Development Group." Diane's smile was all teeth as she approached. "Amanda Hayes, how delightful to see you here. Still trying to convince Mr. Bennett to sell to your little family company, Diane?" Amanda's voice cooled to professional ice. "I wasn't aware you were pursuing this property." "There's a lot you don't know, sweetie." Diane turned her attention to Cole, her expression shifting to something warmer and far more predatory. "Mr. Bennett, I'm here to make you an offer that will dwarf anything Hayes Development can provide. Plus, I'd love to take you to dinner tonight to discuss the details. Somewhere nice in town." Cole's expression remained neutral. "I'm not interested in selling, Ms. Carter. Not to Hayes, not to you. Not yet," Diane purred. "Right. But I'm very persuasive. And I understand the importance of getting to know someone personally before doing business. Amanda here has been staying on your ranch, I hear. How cozy." The insinuation was clear and infuriating. Amanda felt heat rise in her cheeks. Cole stepped forward, placing himself slightly between Amanda and Diane. "Miss Carter, I'm going to have to ask you to leave. You're trespassing." Diane's smile never wavered. "I'll go. But Mr. Bennett, my offer will be on the table for 1 week. After that, I'll be forced to pursue other options. Options that might not be as friendly." She glanced meaningfully at the surrounding properties. "It would be a shame if your neighbors started selling to development companies, less concerned about your precious ranch's future." After Diane left, Amanda and Cole stood in tense silence. "She's serious," Amanda said quietly. "Carter Development has a reputation for getting what they want, no matter what it takes. If she can't buy you out, she'll surround you with developments until you have no choice. Then I'll fight." "Cole, be realistic. You can't fight a corporation that size alone." He turned to her, frustration evident. "And what would you suggest? Sell to you instead? At least with your company, I'd just lose my ranch. With hers, I'd watch it get destroyed piece by piece as everything around me turns into strip malls." Dangerous territory that night, unable to sleep, Amanda wandered out to the porch of the bunkhouse. She was surprised to find Cole already there, sitting on the steps, looking out at the star-filled sky. "Can't sleep?" he asked without turning. "Too much thinking." She sat down beside him, careful to maintain a respectful distance. "Cole, I need to be honest with you, finally." There was no heat in his words, just resignation. "When I came here, this was just another deal, another property to acquire, another win against my brother. But these past few days, seeing what you've built here, understanding what this place means, it's made me question everything." Cole turned to look at her, his face half-shadowed in the moonlight. "What are you saying?" "I'm saying that maybe there's a different way. What if instead of buying your ranch, we partnered? You maintain ownership and control, but Hayes Development handles creating limited ecotourism opportunities. Small scale, respectful of the land and your operations. To have the resources. To expand your organic operation, maybe even help other ranchers in the area convert to sustainable practices. Why would you do that? It's not nearly as profitable as your original plan." Amanda took a deep breath. "'Cause you're right. Some things are more important than profit margins. And because my mother clearly saw something special here worth preserving." The silence stretched between them, filled with possibility and something else, something electric and dangerous. "Amanda," Cole said softly, "I need to tell you something." "What?" "I'm terrified of what I'm feeling right now," her heart stuttered. "Cole, we barely know each other." "I know." He shifted closer, and Amanda could feel the warmth radiating from him. "I know it's crazy. I know you live in Seattle, and I live here. I know our worlds don't fit together. But every morning when you show up at the barn with your hair all messy and that determined look on your face, every time you laugh at one of my terrible jokes, every moment we spend together, I feel like I'm falling." "This is complicated," Amanda whispered, but she didn't move away. "Life's complicated. Doesn't make it less real." When Cole leaned in, Amanda met him halfway. The kiss was soft at first, tentative, a question being asked. Then it deepened, becoming something fierce and honest and absolutely terrifying in its intensity. When they finally pulled apart, both breathing hard, Amanda rested her forehead against his. "What are we doing?" she asked. "Something really stupid or really right. Haven't figured out which yet." The breaking point the next morning, Amanda's phone finally got signal long enough to download a barrage of messages. Most were from her father, each one progressively more demanding. The final one made her blood run cold. Ryan closed the Colorado resort deal. Board meeting in 3 days. "If you don't have Bennett's signature by then, the CEO position goes to your brother. Don't disappoint me, Amanda." Cole found her sitting on a hay bale in the barn, staring at her phone with tears streaming down her face. "Hey, what's wrong? Everything?" Amanda looked up at him. "I have 3 days to get you to sign a contract or I lose everything I've worked for my entire life. And the worst part is, I don't even care anymore. I don't want to manipulate you. I don't want to pressure you. I just want to stay here and figure out what this thing between us means." Cole sat beside her, taking her hand. "So stay. It's not that simple. If Ryan becomes CEO, he'll send someone else. Someone who won't care about preserving this place. Someone like Diane. Then we'll fight them together." "How?" "Cole, I'm talking about multinational corporations with unlimited resources and legal teams that could bury you. In paperwork for decades." Cole was quiet for a long moment. "What if I did sign with you?" Amanda's heart clenched. "No, I don't want it that way. Listen to me. Your partnership idea, that actually makes sense. I keep control. You help me grow the sustainable ranching operation. Create limited tourism that actually benefits the community. And maybe, just maybe, we see where this thing between us goes without the pressure of corporate deadlines hanging over our heads. Cole, I need you to be sure. I need you to want this for the right reasons." He cupped her face in his hands. "I want this because I trust you. Because I see the woman you really are underneath all that corporate armor. Because when I look at you, I see a partner. Not just in business, but in everything." The kiss they shared tasted like hope and new beginnings. The presentation Amanda stood in the haze. Development boardroom 3 days later, her heart pounding as she set up her presentation. The room was filled with board members, her father at the head of the table and Ryan sitting smugly to his right. "Let's get started," Harold Hayes said. "Amanda, I understand you've brought us the Bennett Ranch deal. Let's see what you've got." Amanda took a deep breath and clicked to her first slide. Instead of the massive resort complex the board had been expecting, the screen showed a modest eco-lodge nestled carefully into the landscape. With the main ranch operations clearly preserved and expanded. "What is this?" Ryan interrupted immediately. "This isn't what we discussed. Where's the full resort development?" "This is better," Amanda said firmly. "This is sustainable, community-focused. And most importantly, it maintains the integrity of working ranch land while creating genuine ecotourism opportunities." "The profit margins are a fraction of the original plan," her father observed, his expression unreadable. "The initial profits? Yes. But the long-term sustainability is far greater. We're not just building a resort. We're creating a model for responsible development that could be replicated across the country. Plus, we maintain a partnership with Bennett Organic Ranch, which is becoming a leader in sustainable agriculture. That's the real value." Ryan laughed. "She fell for the farmer." That's what this is about. You threw away a massive development deal because you developed feelings for the property owner. I restructured the deal because it was the right thing to do, Amanda shot back. Something you might try sometime instead of just bulldozing over anyone in your way. Enough, Harold said. The room fell silent. Amanda, I'm disappointed. This partnership structure is creative, and there's merit to the sustainability angle, but it's not what I asked for. The CEO position requires someone willing to make hard choices. Amanda felt her dreams crumbling, but she stood tall. Then maybe I'm not cut out to be CEO, because I refuse to destroy something beautiful and meaningful just to boost quarterly profits. If that's what this company values, then maybe this isn't where I belong. The room erupted in shocked murmurs. Harold raised his hand for silence. Everyone out, except Amanda and Ryan. The truth revealed after the board members filed out. Harold leaned back in his chair and studied both his children. Ryan, tell me about the Colorado deal, Ryan beamed. Full resort complex, signed and ready to break ground next month. 200 rooms, spa facility, the works. And did you disclose to the sellers that the property sits on an earthquake fault line? Ryan's smile faltered. That's not relevant to the deal? Not relevant? Harold's voice rose. Not relevant that we're building a massive structure on unstable ground? Not relevant that you buried the geological survey in the appendix where no one would notice it? I was closing the deal, Ryan protested. That's what you asked for. Harold turned to Amanda. And you completely changed the scope of a major project without authorization. Yes. Sir, you put ethics and sustainability above profit. Yes. Sir, you risked your career for what you believed was right. Amanda met her father's eyes. Yes, sir, I did. Harold was quiet for a long moment. Then he smiled. Really smiled for the first time in the meeting. That's why you're going to be CEO. Both siblings spoke at once. What? Harold stood and walked to the window overlooking the Seattle skyline. This company was built on integrity, on doing right by the communities we develop. Somewhere along the way, we lost sight of that. Ryan, you're brilliant at closing deals, but you cut corners. You see people as obstacles to overcome rather than partners to work with. He turned back to Amanda. You walked into an impossible situation and found a solution that honored everyone involved. You put relationship before transaction. That's the kind of leader this company needs. Ryan's face flushed red. This is because she's sleeping with the rancher. Watch your mouth, Harold snapped. This is because she understands that sustainable success is about more than next quarter's earnings. It's about building something that lasts. Full circle, 2 weeks later, Amanda stood on the porch of the Bennett Ranch, watching the sunset paint the Montana sky in brilliant colors. Cole came up behind her, wrapping his arms around her waist. How does it feel to be CEO? He murmured against her ear. Terrifying. Exciting, right? She leaned back against him. How does it feel to have a business partner who lives in Seattle? About that, Cole turned her around to face him. I've been thinking. What if you didn't live in Seattle? What if your office was, say, right here? Amanda raised an eyebrow. Cole Bennett, are you asking me to move to Montana? I'm asking if you'd consider splitting your time. Running the company remotely part of the week, being here the rest. The partnership works both ways. I need to learn the business side. You need to stay connected to what we're building here. That's actually brilliant, Amanda smiled. And completely impractical and difficult, and probably the best idea I've heard all week, so that's a yes. That's a yes to trying. Yes to figuring it out together. Yes to building something real, not just in business but in life. Cole kissed her, soft and sweet and full of promise. I love you, Amanda Hayes. Love you too, Cole Bennett. Even though you wake up at ungodly hours and your idea of a fancy date involves checking fence lines, I love you even though you still can't. Properly muck out a stall, and you check your phone every 5 minutes. They stood together as darkness fell, the ranch peaceful around them. In the distance, they could see the lights of the small eco-lodge under construction. It's built with care and respect for the land. It wasn't the massive resort Hayes development had originally planned, but it was something better. It was authentic. Amanda's phone buzzed with a message from her mother. "Finally checked your location, Montana. I should have known. Call me when you can. We have things to discuss about the Bennett family." "My mother apparently has been keeping secrets," Amanda said, showing Cole the message. "The best kind of secrets," Cole grinned. "The kind that lead to happy endings." New beginnings. 6 months later, the Bennett-Hayes partnership officially opened their first sustainable eco-lodge. The modest ceremony brought together ranchers, developers, and community members who'd initially been skeptical of any development at all. Patricia Hayes stood with her daughter, tears in her eyes. "Your father would be so proud. And yes, before you ask, I did know this would happen." "Mom, you have to stop being cryptic and tell me the whole story." Patricia laughed. "When I came here for my research project, Cole's mother and I became close friends. She told me about her son, showed me pictures. Even then, I thought he'd be perfect for you someday. I may have stayed in touch with her over the years, keeping track of Cole's progress, waiting for the right moment to send you here. You set this up?" Amanda was torn between shock and amusement. "I created an opportunity. You two did the rest." Tricia hugged her daughter. "Sometimes the best partnerships in business and in life are the ones we don't see coming." Cole approached with Ryan, who'd been surprisingly gracious about the CEO decision. The brothers were deep in conversation about Ryan's new role as Director of Acquisitions, where his aggressive deal-making would be tempered by Amanda's ethical oversight. "Ready for the ribbon cutting?" Cole asked Amanda. She took his hand, feeling the calluses she'd come to love, the strength and gentleness combined. "Ready for anything, as long as we're doing it together?" As they cut the ribbon together, cameras flashing and community members applauding, Amanda realized this was what success really looked like. Not a corner office or a title, but a partnership built on mutual respect. A business that honored the land and the people, and a love that had grown from the most unexpected of places. The ranch stretched out before them, exactly as it had been for generations, but also transformed. Ready to welcome visitors who had learned to appreciate sustainable living and the beauty of working the land. It wasn't the ending Amanda had imagined when she'd first driven down that dusty Montana road in her ridiculous heels. It was so much better that evening. As they walked the property together under a canopy of stars, Cole stopped at the old oak tree where his grandparents had carved their initials decades ago. "Think we should add ours?" he asked with a grin. "That's so corny." Amanda laughed. Says the woman who cried watching the baby calves being born last week. "That was different. That was beautiful. So is this." Cole pulled out a pocket knife and began carefully carving. C, B, plus, A, H.